Today's podcast is presented by Podgo. Podgo is the easiest way for you to monetize your podcast, providing podcasters with a flat rate for ad space so you always know how much you get when you include an ad from Podgo. Apply today to become a member and immediately be connected with advertisers that fit your audience. That's podgo.co at podgo.co. And be sure to tell them the Bro Country Podcast sent you in the How Did You Hear About Podgo section of the application. Welcome to the Bro Country Podcast, your favorite country music podcast. My name is Joey, and as always, I am joined by...
Hey Joey, it's Chris here. What's going on over there?
Not a whole lot, man. Just trying to stay busy with all this Corona stuff going on in the world. What about yourself?
Absolutely. Just listening to some country music, some new stuff that came out this week. It's pretty, I would say, probably because we're getting close to the holidays. This was a huge week for new releases. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. And, we talked last night and over the course of this past week how it didn't seem like much was really happening in country music just because with the CMAs last week and everything. But, after you really sit down and look at it, it looks like there was quite a bit of music that dropped this week. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Pretty exciting.
A ton of stuff came out yesterday or today at midnight.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but guys, on this week's episode, we're going to be recapping Riley Green's latest EP, If It Wasn't for Trucks, and kind of talking about Riley a little bit. But before that, as always, we have to jump into our News Out of Nashville segment.
Yep. What's going on in Nashville this week, Joey?
Well, something I found that was pretty cool and different with the way artists have to adapt with the way of coronavirus is Scotty McCreery, Hank Williams Jr., and Caleb Lee Hutchinson are all doing live stream concerts that they're actually charging for the tickets. So
I saw that. That's interesting. What other information do you have there for us on that kind of stuff?
Yeah, Scotty McCreery, his is the only show that hasn't happened as of right now. His is on December 2nd. Tickets range from like $5 to $50. And the higher tiers, if I'm not mistaken, they get like a meet and greet and like a Q&A type thing I'm assuming via like a Zoom call. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Hank's was tonight actually, and his tickets ranged all over the place. They were like $20 to $160. Same kind of thing. You get like a VIP package with A, B, and C merch and blah, blah, blah. And then Caleb Lee Hutchinson, if you guys aren't familiar with him, he was on American Idol. And he's an awesome country singer. I really like Caleb a lot. But his was actually on the 15th, so just a few days ago. And his tickets were $15, and his was actually to raise money for Second Harvest, which is a great cause. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool. I've looked into some of those live streams, but I'm having a hard time figuring out, do they stream them through YouTube? Do they stream them through a separate browser? Like, have you looked into that much to know? I mean, obviously, I know you could watch it on your computer, but I mean, obviously, I want to sit there and watch them on my TV. So maybe I'm just a high-tech redneck and haven't been able to figure it out.
Yeah, something like that. No, I think it's like a separate website link from what I saw. It was like, I think most of the links I saw were on Hank's social media, and it was like, click this link to watch on November 20th, blah, blah, blah. So I didn't really dig into it that hard, but I'm assuming it's just a separate web browser.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how much longer this goes, I'd say a lot of artists are going to have to start, or not have to, but want to do this kind of stuff. So, I'm sure that in the next month or two, we'll probably see some more artists doing stuff like this, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't blame them. I mean, they're not able to tour, they're not able to make money in the way that they traditionally would. So it's really cool that they have the opportunity to even do something like this, with the technology of today's world. So,
yep, I agree. I mean, I think we're in a weird time right now because I think people are starting to gear up thinking that, maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And that next year might revert back to some sort of normalcy, but also we're in the holiday season and the cold season, so it's just hard to tell what's going on right now. So I hope that by the time the new year rolls around, things start going back to normal. That's my only hope right now.
Yeah. Well, my only hope for right now is that obviously, yes, things start to go back to normal, but that we get to go to our show on December 8th.
Absolutely. I'm trying not to even think about that because
Yeah, for
because I don't
sure.
want them to cancel it. I
Well,
do not want them to cancel it.
yeah, and where I'm at, in Ohio, they just set a curfew from 10 p.m. till 5 a.m. and we're not supposed to leave the state or something. I'm like, man, is that going to impact this whole thing? But we'll see. Fingers crossed. But
Absolutely, man. But being locked down has given us the chance to listen to a lot of music. So,
yeah, that
what
is for sure.
what all came out this week there in Nashville?
Man, a lot of stuff came out. Like you mentioned at midnight, Morgan Wallen dropped 3 songs off his double album that's coming out in January. Living the Dream, Somebody's Problem, and Still Going Down. And I thought they were
What do you
all.
think about them?
I thought they were all freaking great, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Somebody's Problem is going to be the runaway smash on this one. I think it's just got a radio single written all over it. Still Going Down. I need to listen to it a little bit more. Living the Dream is probably my favorite one, just because it's the most personal to him, and we talked a little bit about it last week. But it's probably my favorite of the three. But I just think Somebody's Problem it's a huge smash for him, I think.
Oh yeah, I agree, man. That and like we talked about last week, it's kind of got that sad twist of how it is to be quote living the dream and what he goes through, and But I thought they were all great, and I think Somebody's Problem's definitely built for radio. It's going to be the Runaway song from one of the Runaway songs from this album, album. Excuse me.
This one's gonna have a bunch of huge songs for Morgan off of it, so
Oh
it's
yeah,
gonna be interesting to see for sure.
yep. And then Florida Georgia Line and Russell Dickerson put out "It's About Time." Ouch! I did not
Ouch.
love this one at all. I don't even think I listened to the whole song last night when it came out.
No, this is. I mean, for people that don't know, I mean, the name of our podcast is the Bro Country Podcast, but we kind of came up with it as a pun, as a kind of play on words for because we're just two buddies sitting around talking about country music. But as far as what bro country is, this is about as bad as bro country gets. This song,
Yeah.
I mean, this is bad. This is really it's kind of a parody of
Yeah, it was
it's bad.
goofy.
Yeah,
and
it's
I
goofy.
like Florida Georgia Line, and I like Russell Dickerson, and a lot of the work that they, these respective artists have put out. But this was awful.
Yeah, it's bad. It's
Yeah.
bad. Yeah.
But another release, Famous Friends by Chris Young featuring Kane Brown.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts?
I've listened to this. I've listened to this one like probably 20 times today. I don't know why. I mean, we've
It's
talked about,
good.
and we'll talk more in the future. I mean, Chris Young's one of those guys that like there have been periods of his career where he's been my number one guy. Like literally, there were periods, before Luke, before I really got into Eric, that Chris might have been my favorite mainstream artist there for a while. And then the last couple albums, he's just really disappointed me. So, I mean, but every time he puts something out, I'm gonna give it a shot because of those couple albums that were literally perfect. And this is it's a fun song. It's got great catchy lyrics. He's got Kane on it. Him and Kane toured together a bunch a couple years ago, so they've always kind of been buddies. And I mean, collaborations and duets and this kind of stuff are definitely the new norm in Nashville because it just gets like both of their social medias connected, and it's just easier to get the word out to more people when you have multiple people on songs like this. So I'm sure that he having Kane's not going to hurt, obviously. So I think it's got a good chance to be a big hit.
Yeah, and Kane gets like monstrous streaming numbers just because he's done so many like pop, cross collabs and everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, he kills it with streams, and I'm not a huge fan of Kane Brown. He's definitely got some catchy songs that I like, and I thought he sounded really good on this one actually.
Yeah,
I was surprised.
He's the last EP that he came out with. He's got a couple songs that are the straight up country, and it's similar to this. That I mean, when he is singing country music, he's got a great voice. I mean,
He does.
He the Brooks and Dunn album that came out last year, Reboot. He sings "Believe" on it as the closing track, and it's an incredible vocal. Like it's an absolute. So he's got a great voice. I mean,
He does, like you
Yeah,
mentioned, when he sings like with traditional country sound and production, it's great.
yeah,
He's got a great
absolutely.
voice.
Yeah.
But what he does works for him, so no hate there.
No, and I mean, he established early in his career that he was going to do, pop collaborations, straight country. That he was, he from right out of the gate, he let everybody know that I love all this. I do all these styles, and it's worked for him. So I mean, nobody can say that he's not being true to himself because he's done that from the very beginning.
Yeah, ever since he started out kind of on social media, just growing his fan base before he even took off into superstardom. So,
Yep, you're
yeah.
right.
But something I found really interesting, I'm going to take it to TikTok here for a minute. A
Let's do it.
guy that I've been following on TikTok since probably the beginning of the quarantine, his name is Brandon Davis,
Yep.
and he is an aspiring country star. Not a star yet, but aspiring country star. And he actually dropped his first single at midnight, God Made Angels. And it is, I thought, a great song. And I've been listening to this guy like sing cover songs and like teasing his music on TikTok over the past, 6 to 8 months. And I sent it to you. Did you get a chance to listen to it?
Yeah, it sounds awesome, man. I mean,
Like
it's
radio ready. Like,
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I clicked on it, and then I went over to Spotify to look at his artist page, and I was like, this is his first song,
yeah.
and he has like no monthly listeners yet because it's a brand new song, and it's just hard. Most people don't come out of the gate sounding as professional as this sounds. So
Yeah,
it's pretty. It's
the
pretty
production is great. The lyrics are great. I mean, if you guys have not heard of Brandon Davis, go check out God Made Angels and go follow that man on TikTok if you're a TikToker because he is so good.
Cool. Yep, I agree, man.
And then to another TikTok tease that I saw, Drew Parker teased "What if he was Jesus?" and I saw that on TikTok. I'm not sure if he put it up on Instagram or Facebook or anything, but that is going to be a really good song, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think for both of those, I looked down at my phone and I saw that you had sent me a TikTok, and like anytime that you send me a TikTok message, I know that it's going to be a tease of a new song. So I mean, I'm always excited. I'm always excited to click on it, especially obviously Drew. So it's a great song. It kind of reminded me of oh gosh, it'll come to me.
I think I know the train of thought that you're on, but I can't think of the.
What if he's an angel, or what if she's an angel? I can't remember who sang it. It's a good early 2000s song.
Yeah,
It'll come to me, but
Yeah.
it's got that kind of vibe to it. It's awesome, man.
yeah. Basically, he is going past a homeless guy holding a cardboard sign, pretty much begging for money, and it goes through just saying how he could be a this is paraphrasing, but could be a junkie, could be a dad that lost his job, could be a soldier who's back from war, suffering from PTSD, but what if he was Jesus? Pretty much like, let's not judge a book by its cover and, not put someone down just based on their situation of not being financially stable and begging for money or being homeless. So,
Yeah,
good storytelling song. Drew is really good at that. He's a great writer.
he really is, man. He really, really is.
So I think that one will do good for him. But
Yeah, I mean he just released the EP, so I mean,
Yeah,
for him to already be teasing new music, it's pretty cool. I'm sure that he's just gearing up for hoping that there's a tour next year because I mean he's obviously going to open for Luke on the big shows, but he'll be doing club dates and he'll be doing smaller shows.
Yeah.
And he's just gearing up for that, I'm sure. But as far as TikTok goes, Sony Nashville announced this week that they had signed 2 more TikTokers to record deals. I mean, they, Priscilla, like we've talked about, Priscilla Block got signed.
Yeah.
And that song's already zooming up the charts.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm trying to, it's Andrew Janikos, I think is his name.
Oh, yeah.
Gone Too Soon is the name of the song. And, I mean, he's already got over 1 million Spotify monthly listeners and already got huge social media. So, I mean, it's this, I would say, I mean, this is just going to be the way of people getting discovered moving forward is just, Luke and Kane and Maren Morris kind of were the first ones that kind of built their career on this. But I mean, this is the way now. I mean, you get hot on social media on TikTok, and you get the attention of the big dogs in Nashville.
Yeah, and it's crazy because Andrew, I've seen him just scrolling through TikTok, and he always does these funny videos where he's like cooking but singing, and
Oh, really? I haven't
yeah,
seen
he's
those.
good
That's cool.
though. I didn't know he signed a deal though. That's great.
Yeah,
Good for
he
him.
signed a deal, and then
Was-
a girl
was he
named
on the-
Hannah Dasher, I think,
Hannah
was the
Dasher.
other girl that we'll have to look her up. I've only listened to a couple of her songs, but yeah, I saw an article earlier just talking about the kind of the impact of TikTok on Nashville, and it was talking about both of them getting signed.
It's crazy. Yeah, and
It
Andrew,
is,
I think
yeah.
he was on The Voice not too long ago though. Actually, also.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool that he had that exposure and then just took to TikTok and blew up and got a fan base, and he's got a good voice though. Have you listened to him yet?
Well, he does have a good voice. It's weird though because this "Gone Too Soon" is very poppy, but if you listen
Yeah.
to the other stuff that he's done, some of it is like really country.
Yeah.
So
He's got a
Yeah.
good country voice too.
he does have it. Yeah, he does have a good country voice.
Definitely, but yeah, good for them. That's so cool. But
It is cool, man.
to the not to discredit Morgan because that was a monster release, but it was only 3 tracks.
Yeah.
To
It's
the
a tease.
monster, yeah, it was a tease. To the monster releases of today, the Garth Brooks Fun album finally dropped after a long anticipated wait,
Yep.
and Lee Brice dropped his album Hey World.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, do you think? I mean, it seems like that the full length album, for the most part, is going away unless you are kind of like a huge superstar like Morgan and Garth. I mean, so many of today's acts just kind of release 5 or 6 songs at a time. So for I think Garth's album's got 13 or 14 songs, and I think Lee's album's got like 17 songs on it.
Yeah.
So that's good. I'm always glad to see an artist put out a full length project because
Yeah,
I
Lee's
I know
has,
you agree with
oh,
me.
yeah.
That's what we want.
Absolutely, and yeah, Lee's has 15. I just checked.
15. Yeah.
So that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, it is good, man. It's really good.
That's why we talked about this before on the show, but that's why I was so shocked that Luke Bryan only dropped 10 songs on his most recent album.
Yeah, I mean,
That just blew
Maybe-
my mind.
yeah, I just wish I knew more of the backstory on that. I'm sure over time
Deluxe will drop or
learn
something.
more. Yeah, deluxe probably. But with Lee, I mean, he is a songwriter at heart. So 17 songs is probably not, or 15 songs is probably not, that much really over the course of a couple years. It's been a couple years since he released a full length project. So
Yeah.
I think if you're a songwriter like Luke and Lee and Morgan, I mean, it's not, if you're sitting around and what you love to do is write songs with your buddies, then you're ready to put out a full length project. And I mean, it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I agree with you, my man.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to touch on for this week's news out of Nashville was the Florida Georgia Line. What is it? They're supposed to be on they're looking to do a like a movie musical or something, right? A country movie musical. Did you hear about? I sent you the link, the Billboard article. Did you read that?
I kind of read the headlines, but
Yeah.
I didn't do a deep dive into it because it's hard to tell if they're being serious.
Yeah, I agree, and I thought it was kind of like a parody joke type thing at first, like satire news. But I'm like, oh, this is Billboard. Like what?
That's funny. Man.
I just skimmed the article and read
Hey, man,
something.
I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't put it
Yeah,
past
I wouldn't
them.
put it past. It sounds like
put it
something right up
past
their alley, but they said they were going to try to stick to traditional roots and blah blah blah. And I'm like, wait, this is for real? I'm like, I can't believe it, but I thought that was kind of funny. But
Did you see that Tyler did an interview yesterday where he admitted that he unfollowed Brian and kind of
Oh.
went into a little, not the full story, but went into a little bit on what had happened there. Did you see that?
no, and you didn't send it to me either, so shame on you. Just kidding.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I mean, he pretty much just said, yeah, the election was too intense, and I just didn't want to get into it with any of my buddies that might not agree with what I said, and just that we're totally fine now, and that everybody needs to just not worry about it, which is cool. I mean, I hope that's
Yeah.
the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. That's super respectable that they could overcome their political differences and still be good buddies and put out their music. Because I think at the end of the day, if we have different opinions on whatever it may be, as long as we treat each other right and respect each other, that's all that really should matter. And hopefully they can get through that and not break up. Because even though the stuff like they put out last night with Russell Dickerson, they do, amongst that, they do have some good tracks that came out. So
I agree, man.
but yeah,
Agree.
moving on to Riley Green and his latest EP. This is a good EP. If it wasn't for trucks, dropped in September of this year, so it's fairly new. What were your thoughts, just like generally, on the EP?
Generally, I was listening to a lot of his debut album yesterday and the day before. I go back to it, a couple of the tracks on it a lot, and I think that this EP is definitely much more stripped down musically than his debut album.
Yeah.
I almost get the feeling that he released this just because of all the downtime that they've had this year, and Riley is a songwriter too, so you're always itching to put out stuff that you write, and this was almost kind of a surprise release. I mean, they're going with If It Wasn't for Trucks as the single, which is, it's probably the most obvious choice for a single off of this one. But just overall, it just sounds like something that Riley, probably didn't have a huge production, budget on, and just made it the way he wanted to make it, because it's just got a really good kind of rootsy feel to it, I think.
Yeah, I thought the instrumentation was great. The production for, even being stripped down sounded awesome.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Riley's, he's one of those more neo-traditional guys, and, just trying to stick to like the traditional country sound and instruments, and I thought it was amazing. And, little background on Riley. He's been putting out EPs kind of independent. He had been putting out EPs independently between like 2013, 2017. And he was signed by the Big Machine label group in 2018.
Yep.
And he's had some good radio success with There's This Girl, In Love by Now. I Wish Grandpa's Never Died was another good song that he's put out that a lot of people know. His first album, the debut album, I thought it was great, man. There were so many songs on there that I still go back to, which it just dropped last year. Different Round Here was his debut album, and
Yep.
so many good
really
songs on
good.
that one. Like I mentioned, I Wish Grandpa's Never Died, Numbers on the Cars, In Love by Now, Get That Man a Beer, Outlaws Like Us. He really doesn't. I don't know that he's got a bad song that he's put out.
No, I agree with you. He won Best New Male Vocalist at the ACM Awards last year, and he signed to Big Machine label group, which is maybe the biggest, if not the biggest, one of the biggest labels in Nashville. Mm-hmm. But he's in the conversation, and you mention it all the time, Joey. But he's in the conversation with John Party and Cody Johnson and Luke and Morgan. He's in that group of kind of. I hate to just call them, throwback singers, but how would you classify kind of what they're doing? Because they're different. Riley Green and John Party sound very different, but they're also very similar in their connection to not, I don't want to keep saying 90s country, but I think you know what
But
I'm
it
talking
is.
about.
That kind of is what they're doing, It's that 90s country with a modern vibe to it, and it's just like revamping country radio in a way, you know what I mean? And it's just like bringing country back in a sense. So it's really cool. Yeah,
I agree.
And
if
they just got that traditional vocals, traditional country vocal style, and everybody always talks about them sound like 90s artists, but they do in a way, in their own way, and it just works for them, and it's great. I'm stoked.
I wish Grandpa's Never Died is one of the most traditionally sounding songs it's probably been played on country radio in the last decade, I would think. It's probably going to go down as maybe his signature song up till now, but it didn't even reach the top 10 on the radio chart. But I think most people think of it as like a huge smash for him, and it was. It's one of those ones that
It's like his
10 years from
signature
now,
song.
you're going to look back and think that wasn't a number one hit. That didn't reach the top two or three. It didn't. And I wonder if that's because it's so traditional. I don't know. But that's one of those songs that it doesn't matter where it charted because I mean everybody knows that song.
It just resonates with people, and some might say it's checklisty in a way, but it is one of the most traditional sounding songs that has been on radio, like you said, in a long time. And
Yeah.
I love that song, and I mean, Riley's just a good writer. He's got good storytelling songs, and I think that's just huge in country music, is to be able to tell a story through your music, and he does it perfectly.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've seen the video of him singing that one on the Opry, and I've seen him do it. He opened for Aldine and Morgan right before the pandemic, and I mean, 15,000 people, and every person was singing along. Or like I said, 2,000 people at the Grand Ole Opry, as traditional as you can get.
Yeah.
And that's one of those songs that kind of, like you said, everybody can relate to.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I mean, he went from being a contestant on Redneck Island, which was a show hosted by Steve Austin back in it was on CMT. And
Did you ever watch it?
yeah, a little bit here and there. I didn't really get into it though. But
Did you remember him from the show?
No, I didn't. I did not. I had to. That was some of my fun facts I researched. No pun intended on the fun word since Garth's album dropped today, but
That's funny.
So that was just through some research I found out about Riley. I didn't know that, so I thought that was pretty cool. But going from being on that show and just dropping independent EPs to signing to one of the biggest labels in Nashville is pretty cool. In a 6 to 7 year span.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Chase Rice was on Survivor?
What? I did not know that.
Yeah, so both of those guys came from kind of reality television. It's interesting.
That's crazy.
Interesting. It is.
Usually you hear
crazy.
people like, oh, he or she was on American Idol, or oh, they were on The Voice. No, they were on Survivor and Redneck Island, okay?
Redneck Island, at least, is like, that's straight up country music right there.
Yeah, definitely.
That's funny.
But
what were your thoughts, or what was your favorite track on the new EP?
favorite track? Are we gonna rank them, or are we gonna just dive into it and go with our favorite tracks right off the rip?
Whatever you want to do.
Well, yeah, let's do first. There's 5 songs: Behind the Times, If I Didn't Wear Boots, If It Wasn't for Trucks, Jesus and Wranglers, and Better Than Me. So let's start top to bottom. Let's go 1 to 5 on this one.
Okay.
My favorite one on this EP is Behind the Times.
Oh, okay.
I think it is a great song. It's a good message that, we can learn a lot from our elders and people that are, quote, behind the times. And, we need to slow down and just really listen to the elders in our life, whether it be our grandparents or a older aunt and uncle that's given us advice. And, we can really learn a lot from those people. And that song just really seemed to resonate with me. And I really liked it. I thought it was a 10 out of 10. What do you have at number 1?
Well, my number 1 is probably, I'm trying to think if it's my favorite Riley song. It might be. My number 1 was Better Than Me with Randy Owen from Alabama.
Yeah.
He had played this one early in quarantine, and it's really got, if you listen to it, it's dated because it's always going to reference back this year. It's definitely a very personal song that he actually wrote it with Ray Fulcher, which is, one of Luke's good buddies. And the first time I heard it acoustically, obviously Randy Owen wasn't on it, but just kind of similar to Behind the Times. Riley's got a real way of kind of relating the knowledge of kind of like our elders or our older people. Just respect, really. And so to grab Randy Owen, who's the lead singer of the biggest country band of all time. To sing this song with him, obviously, I'm sure was a total dream come true. But it's similar to Numbers on the Car and Grandpa's Never Died, Behind the Times. He's just got such a way of kind of connecting generations in country music, which to me is like that's like bedrock of country music. Of what country music should be. Yeah, it's a great song that he's talking about. To me, it's just his way of trying to find the good that's come out of this crazy year, you know. And
Yeah.
I've been thinking a lot about that myself recently, and it's been hard. I mean, this has been crazy, and that song really sticks with me, and will stick with me for a while, I'm sure.
Yeah, man, I agree. It is a very good song, and that is the reason why I had it at number two.
There you go.
It's a great song, and like you mentioned, having Randy Owen on there was really cool. And yeah, pretty much summing up what you said is kind of the reason why I really enjoyed it. And I think it's going to be a song that stands a lot the test of time for Riley, and I think it's going to be big for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the theme of this year and last year for kind of today's country stars to get their heroes to sing with them on a song. And, like Luke doing it with Brooks and Dunn, like he picked the perfect song for them to sing that with. And this is a perfect song to have. I mean, Randy Owen, I think, is 68, 69 years old. I mean, everybody knows Alabama, obviously. And, I mean, it's a killer song, man.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I actually have, If It Wasn't for Trucks,
nice.
the single at number 2, just because it's, I mean, there's nothing. It's kind of, sometimes songs that are, I don't want to call them generic, but kind of just, this is kind of what country music is about. Like, people get tired of those songs. It's kind of like cliched and stuff.
Reoccurring themes.
Yeah, reoccurring themes. There you go. But when somebody does it with authenticity and does it like in the right spirit, it reminds you that like that those really are still some of the very important things that matter in country music. So I mean, just because certain things are cliche, that doesn't mean that you can't still have an amazing song about those things. And this song to me, reminds me of that. I mean, it's obviously about all the things that he couldn't do or he wouldn't have if it wasn't for trucks, but it's also just kind of about more. To me, it's more just about like his line of thinking and his like way of life, as opposed to just specifically talking about just one pickup truck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Yeah.
I like that one. I don't honestly, man. I don't think there's one on this EP that I didn't like. I'm excited to see the full project, and
yeah, I hope I wonder if this is going to be like the kickoff to a full project, or if this is just going to be a standalone EP.
That's a good point. I didn't really consider it being just a standalone EP, but because he hasn't really, that I've seen talked about a full project or like any album announcement, right? Have you seen anything like that?
No, I mean,
he's been teasing a lot of stuff.
Well, right after I Wish Grandpa's Never Died kind of ended its radio run, they announced that Different Round Here was going to be the next radio single, and then it just never did anything. Like in order to hit the Billboard chart, you got to hit the top 60 on radio, and it never even hit the top 60. So they kind of moved on from it, and they moved on to If It Wasn't for Trucks, which is new material. But it's sitting at number 57 right now, so it hasn't really taken off yet. So I'm sure they're just probably kind of waiting to see, if it takes off a little bit or what's going to be next for him.
Yeah, I can't believe Different Round Here didn't do that well at radio. I do love that song.
Yeah, it's a great song. I mean,
it's just hard to believe, but
absolutely great song.
I mean, even If It Wasn't for Trucks on Spotify has just a little over 3 million streams in a couple months, and I mean, that's not really huge numbers, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think
2
you and
months.
I were talking a couple days ago, as we always do. I mean, with the way that streaming works now, and with the way that I think what really matters to a lot of these artists now is like not just like general fandom, but like hardcore fandom. And like somebody like Riley he may never be like a massive superstar, but he is always going to have his like super hardcore fans that are gonna follow him, that are gonna go to the shows, that are gonna listen to the music. And he might not end up with a ton of radio hits, but that's
okay.
He's gonna be fine. Yeah, he's gonna be fine.
Look at our boy Eric.
That's right.
Eric doesn't have a ton of radio number ones, but hit the fans.
Well, I think Eric is like the the perfect example for a lot of these guys coming up that want to write like real country music, do it the way they want to do it, and not really worry about the radio, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, man. But moving to number 3, I had If I Didn't Wear Boots.
Oh, what do you
And
think
I
about
like
that one?
I like that song. I think it's fun because it starts out with him just talking about, probably would have saved a couple broken bones. Wouldn't have knocked that guy out running his mouth if I didn't wear boots. And then it moves on to if I didn't wear boots, I wouldn't have anywhere to hide the flask that gave me the nerve to ask you to dance. Sweep you off your feet like cowboys do. If I didn't wear boots, blah blah blah. It's just a fun song about a little romance, and I like those type of songs, and the instrumentation's great, the production's good, and I just really liked it.
Yep, I agree, man. I agree. At number 3, I had Behind the Times. And
Okay.
it's pretty much exactly what you said. I mean, you put it at 1. I could have put it at 1, but, I would have, if you asked me tomorrow, I could put it at 1. I mean, it's a great song. I mean, I usually don't love EPs because they're so short, but if an EP's got 5 great songs, then they're easy to listen to. You can go back to it like over and over and over again. Like, this whole EP is just, it's easy to listen to, and it's great. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I listened to it a couple times today just before recording the episode, just to solidify my list and to get a fresh listen to it. But
yep.
it's really good, man. I like Riley, and I don't know if, like you said, if he'll ever blow up to superstardom, but if he doesn't, that's okay.
Yeah. What'd you have at number 4 there?
Number 4, I've got If It Wasn't for Trucks.
Okay.
Again, I don't dislike any of these tracks, but I had to put it somewhere, so number 4 is where it went.
Yep, absolutely, man.
But it's fun. I do like it.
And I had if I didn't wear boots at number 4. It's just I mean they're sonically they're not the same, but If I Didn't Wear Boots and If It Wasn't for Trucks are really similar.
Very, very similar.
Really, really similar. Which I guess if I had one not complaint, but like one issue with it, I would say that that those 2 songs are really similar songs.
Very, very, very similar.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you, and I think that's why I had them kind of back to back, because it was hard to pick one over the other, essentially. But yeah. But number 5, I had Jesus and Wranglers.
Yep, and so did I. What'd you think of that one?
That one, to me, it just, I don't know, man. If I had to complain or pick one I didn't love, it would be that one.
Yeah.
It didn't really do it for me. I thought it was kind of generic. It's soothing to listen to, and it's a good track, but not one of my favorite Riley songs, but not a bad one either.
I agree. I mean, the bad thing about like Riley's voice and then the production style is that the songs can start to sound similar. I feel like and I mean you can say that about anybody. I mean anybody, especially in country music. I mean the stuff is it's hard to make each song sound distinct, but I do feel like that maybe on a couple of these tracks that it does start to sound a little repetitive. But I mean that's okay. I mean it's not a huge complaint. I'm just pointing that out.
I'm nitpicking with it too.
Absolutely.
It's not bad, but we did wind up having one ranked the same though.
That's not bad compared to some of the
some of our other
rankings.
episodes. We're like
rankings
neck and
have.
neck, spot on with each other. So,
That's
but yeah,
fine,
that's our roundup of Riley Green's latest EP. If It Wasn't for Trucks, make sure you guys go check that out. Check out those other artists we mentioned earlier. Morgan's new music, Drew Parker's Teases on TikTok, Brandon Davis. Go check him out. These guys are great.
Yep.
If you guys aren't following us on social media, make sure you join our Facebook group and page. Just search Bro Country Podcast. We're on Instagram at Bro Country Podcast, Twitter at Bro Country Pod. We really would appreciate if you guys would hop on and join our social media community. But that is all I've got for this week, man. You got anything?
That's all I got, man.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Until next time, keep it country and take care of each other.